right, I think we will get going. I know some more folks will join as we move through the beginning of our time together. Welcome, folks. Good morning, good afternoon to those of us who are attending across the country. My name is Allison Burchett, and I'm the head of sales for Thunder Consulting. I'll be your host and moderator for today. Before we begin, a few orientation items for our time together. We will be together from about 12 p.m. Central Time until about 10 minutes before the hour ends. Like all Salesforce meetings, you will see some forward-looking technology. We encourage you to make your purchasing decisions based on currently available technology. And we look forward to our exciting future forward conversation. This webinar is being recorded. So I know that you all would never multitask, but should you need to refer back, this will be posted on our website and our YouTube channel. And we encourage you to follow Thunder on YouTube and LinkedIn for more thought-provoking content. If you will be at Chicago Connections, we look forward to the opportunity to meet you in person. We will have a very relevant topic around building complex multi-topic agents presented by our VP of Innovation, Dave McCall. So please come find us at Connections in Chicago in June as well. We will be at World Tour in New York. So look forward to hearing from you all and getting to meet you in person. Now, all listeners will be muted for the call, but we do want to hear your questions. So to be able to do that, you just need to put it into the chat section of the Zoom, and our chat moderator will surface questions up towards the end. Now, let's go ahead and get started. So we are so excited to dive into this topic together. At Thunder, we interact with hundreds of clients, and our goal is to address the most frequently asked topics via these webinar series. Now, it's no secret that agentic AI is the topic of the moment and 100% not a passing trend. We all realize that we're on the precipice of a massive technological shift, impacting not only the tools that we use to work, but really how we work and how we think about work at large. So AI is one of the most rapidly adopted technological advances I've personally seen in my 20 years of technology. And Gen AI is expected to diffuse faster and more widely than any previous innovation. So we're going to see changes to our workforce at a pace we've just really never seen. And that's why we're so grateful to be your partner at Thunder to help you navigate through this new landscape. Now, while most are coming to this webinar with a basic understanding of the marketing aspects of the full spectrum of AI and agents, Thunder Consulting, together here with a standout leader from Salesforce's Data Cloud segment, are here to talk more about the how behind the wow, the true power of activation, the layer on top of your company's most priceless asset, which is structured and unstructured data, to then gain maximum benefit in the agentic journey. So by attending this webinar, you'll come away with a distinct advantage on why some agents are high value and why others are not, how to think about Agentforce and CDP relative to the other business systems you use today, your current state of your data architecture. Am I ready? Where am I on this journey? And get inspired by learning about others' value cases and help you create your own internal justification. We'll give you key guidance for successful activation and things to consider along your journey. And I'm just so grateful to be joined here today by two experts from Salesforce, introducing Sean Maya. He is a 12-year Salesforce veteran who currently leads the Data Cloud business for North America. He's part of the broader data and AI Agentforce teams, helping organizations harness the power of data and AI in the flow of work. So Sean is coming to us live from San Francisco and brings a wealth of experience in driving innovation and transformation across the ecosystem. From Thunder Consulting, Anu Pandey. Anu is the Salesforce Data Cloud architect with deep expertise across industries, has been in the ecosystem for 6 years, specializing in Data Cloud, Salesforce Platform, Marketing Cloud, and bringing that all together with a strong strategic perspective. She'll bring a valuable lens to our conversation, having sat on multiple sides of the table, the client, the consultant, and the vendor. I'll be your moderator today, coming to you with a background of 20 years in technology sales across MDM, Salesforce, and systems integration. So let's get to know Thunder a little bit. If you've not worked with us before, here's a bit of background. Thunder is a multi-cloud consulting firm dedicated to Salesforce and Amazon. We span the clouds from Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Experience Cloud, all the way through Marketing Cloud, Data Cloud, and really turning those into activating through Agentforce and connecting automation through Slack and MuleSoft. So we're really an end-to-end partner. And that means we can start with you at any point in your journey and take you through your entire roadmap, leading you side by side. We also have advisory practice, and we're here to make sure that your team is fully enabled. We are very, very proud of all of our certifications and our commitment to continued education and continuing to bring the most talented people in the ecosystem to your projects. And we've been proud to be a leader in Agentforce. So we have been a part of the Agentforce Primer program. So we have a very much a head start. And we're going to bring a lot of that insight from those 15 plus, I believe, projects to date so far to this conversation today. All right. So with that, Sean, we're so excited to hear from you. Tell us about your journey and really what you're seeing around a lot of these conversations that customers are talking about around, how do we activate our enterprise data, and really looking forward to just hearing, what's coming from those customer conversations.
Yeah, thanks, Allie. So I'm a 12-year Salesforce veteran, as you mentioned. So I started, 12 years ago talking basic CRM. How do we organize our data? How do we serve customers better for sales, for service, for marketing? And really watched it evolve over the past decade of being able to capture that data, being able to action on that data. And now AI is everything. So we're on this AI journey. And Salesforce like to say we're in the third wave of the AI journey. Predictive, we've been doing for 10 years. It's ubiquitous. We all use it, hopefully, and it's part of our workflows. It helps us prioritize and focus on the right things. The last several years, we've been focused on copilots. How do we assist humans? How do we have better than chatbots? How do we essentially have these assistive agents that can really help us do things? But they were interesting. They weren't fascinating. They didn't have a lot of logic. They weren't grounded in all the data that's possible. And enter now is this third wave of AI agents. It's not just a Salesforce thing, of course. We all use agents in many areas of our life. I'm here in San Francisco, and there's driverless cars going on everywhere. If you haven't tried one, next time you come here, please do it. It is a life-altering moment to be able to see a car drive you and be just as effective as a human. They actually launched in Austin last month, and Dara, the CEO of Uber, is actually helping facilitate that. So it's a partnership with Uber. He said that the Waymos are busier than 99% of human drivers. People are wanting the consistency. They're wanting the ease of use, the being able to leverage a truly autonomous agent, an actual car driving you around. So we've come leaps and bounds to where any of us even imagined a few years ago. A lot of our customers like OpenTable, Wiley, Bombardier are using Salesforce agents to be able to drive the best, most personalized customer experiences 24 hours a day whenever you need it. So it is here. And how do we essentially leverage your data? How do we leverage the AI that's out there, but being able to do it in a trusted way, being able to leverage all the different assets we have, the workflows, our infrastructure, our security, and bring it all together. So that's what Salesforce, along with our partnership as Thunder, is working on.
I love that. I think we found the forward-looking statement with the robots right there.
Exactly. So
that's exciting.
So here's the challenge, though, is and why this is needed now. So everyone's overwhelmed. Teams are overstretched. They're burnt out. And there's lots of mundane, repetitive tasks that people don't want to do. And even if they do want to do it, they're not getting to it all. So 41% of our time is lost with low-value, repetitive tasks. Take an SDR that most companies have. SDRs are great. We have to hire them. We have to train them. We have to enable them. but a lot of them are just taking, web chats and basic phone calls, asking basic questions that we can actually spin up agents that can do that more effectively and faster. And we can turn a knob the more we need based on seasonality, based on our business grows. And we can repurpose those people to higher tasks. So the challenge is it's hard to hire talented people. Even if we can hire them, we can't enable them fast enough, and it's fixed capacity that we can't change very quickly. Customer expectations are higher than ever. We all can look at ourselves and say, hey, we don't want to wait on hold. If it's there to hold, I'm just going to hang up. I'm going to try another time, or I'm just going to deal with a different company. And I want it to be personalized. In our life, we all deal with everything, insurance companies, healthcare companies, we call, our cell phone companies, and it's all this, convoluted web of things we have to navigate, and we get frustrated. We want it to be better, and we'll pay more for better. So people want empathetic conversations. They want it to be simple.
And it's somehow more okay. Like it's easier somehow to talk to an AI agent by typing than talking to it on the phone as well. I mean, that's also a psychological thing that I've seen other people like just kind of prefer to talk to an agent via text.
Exactly. And it's consistent. We've all had experiences where we get the wrong customer service agent, like they don't get it. You hang up, you call back.
Yes.
When you deal with an agent, whether you're in voice or you're on the web, it's going to be consistent across the board. And we can collect the feedback and we can fine tune those experiences to make it better.
Love that.
So Salesforce, and as part of our platform, has built Agentforce. It's an all new layer that's built upon the Salesforce platform. It's built on the trust layer, and it's really meant to bring agentic AI, engaging actionable experiences, leveraging your Salesforce platform, leveraging your enterprise data that you may have in data lakes and Snowflake and Redshift, et cetera. So how do we bring it together and be able to drive these and find jobs to be done? Again, back to this 40% of mundane tasks that are very important. They're setting the reputation and tone of your company. How do we essentially be able to leverage agents, leveraging your platform to take up a notch on our sales and service and marketing experiences? So the key here is it can't be different. We didn't want to build a separate platform that you had to go build APIs, you had to have separate security. You already have your workflows. There's a lot of Salesforce flow heads, I think we call them, that people love flows. They built all this web of awesome actionable flows. What if we could trigger that autonomously? What if we could leverage our Apex code we built, our APIs we've already integrated? So we want to be able to connect the agents and drive the jobs to be done with your existing infrastructure, deliver accurate and personalized experiences for our customers. That's what they want. They expect in the consumer life. They for sure expect in the B2B area. So whether you're doing B2B or B2C, this is Salesforce's unique value prop to be able to leverage what you have to drive action. And we have something called the Atlas Reasoning Engine that will take, and again, this is leveraging best in world class LLMs. You can leverage OpenAI, you can leverage Anthropic. You can bring your own LLM if you want to. The goal is to bring it together, but be able to drive it personalized for specific, sales and service use cases.
And the beautiful thing actually is that it's so declarative that you don't need to know code. You can leverage existing code or flows that your developers have built. So a business user can really be empowered, right, Sean, to kind of take matters into their own hands. Is that fair?
Absolutely. And Salesforce has always been my clicks, not code, or a little code if you want. So we want to make it easy. We want to make it, this isn't hire a team of developers. We all know how to use ChatGPT. I haven't seen one person yet. My dad is 80. He loves it. So how do we take that same mindset and be able to drive it to enterprise software and be able to, tell the LLM, tell the prompt what to do, what to engage with? And we have all the pieces to be able to make it effective. We have guardrails, we have the trust layer, we have zero retention. So there's a lot of things we built to make it easy. So you don't have to build it yourself.
And Sean, what about that trust layer? Actually, I don't know that folks necessarily know a ton about that. What is the value of that you see?
Salesforce number one value is trust and making sure your data is not our product. That's what Mark continuously says. So we want to make sure you own your data, whether it's AI or not. It is your data. It is secure. We have encryption. We have row level security. We have all the things that Salesforce has always had, but extending that into the new, agentic AI thing, we're leveraging third-party LLMs. They're very effective. We don't need to build our own. If you want to build your own, cool, we can. But we want to make sure as you take your enterprise data, you pass it through, you augment it with, with other data, with maybe your non-Salesforce data. But as you send that to an LLM, let's say ChatGPT, it's zero retention. We're leveraging the powerful effectiveness of what the LLM can provide, but they don't keep and retain your data. We're not training their models. Imagine you're training, what if we didn't have the trust layer? You're taking your proprietary enterprise data, you send it to ChatGPT, and they keep it, and maybe they're sharing it with your customers. What is your company plan? What's your strategy? How do you compete on this deal? So there's so many reasons why the trust layer is so important, and Salesforce is always about trust, and it is no different in this AI layer.
Well, and uniquely timed or perfectly timed, Thunder's just put out a blog post this morning. Obviously, the competitive landscape for different options, whether they're free consumer options or all the way up to enterprise grade, how and where do I decide to stand up my agents and what technology is the best fit for me to use? So our moderator will put into the chat a link to our blog post around our opinion on that and the considerations to make as well.
All right, so the key thing I kind of hit on a couple times, for an agent to be effective, we need data. And you already have, I said it's built on the Salesforce platform, but agents need more than Salesforce data. We need your enterprise data as well. You guys have all invested heavily, and the good news is we're going to leverage that. People that have invested in Snowflake and Databricks and your on-premise, Hives, whatever you have, we want to make sure we can bring that data together. And to do that, we built a hyperscaler natively on the Salesforce platform. It is not to duplicate and drive the existing value that you've already invested in your on-premise or your cloud data lakes. It's to be able to activate that data, to bring it together, to harmonize it, to unify it, to do identity resolution. We all have multiple versions of different people and different companies. So Salesforce has built a hyperscaler hosted on AWS. Our Google partnership's coming next year as well. But overall, we have a true hyperscale platform with all the power of a CDP that can bring together your data, it can harmonize it, it can do a few things. One, we're going to provide 360 insights. So not even talking agents, how do we make sure in the flow of work, we can surface your data at the right place, at the right time to drive decisions? So the key theme here is actions. If your data is in Snowflake, that's cool, but how do you action it? How do you action it for sales reps that are in Salesforce, or for marketing reps, or personalization? So we built this trusted foundation layer, still within the trust layer, to provide 360 insights, but also to be able to ground the AI, to be able to ground the prompts. So when you have an utterance by a sales rep or someone comes to your website and asks a question, it can pull your data. It can pull customer, who you are, what's your purchase history, what is your web journeys, what is your service cases, how many cases have you made in the past, are you happy, are you sad? How do we essentially collect a view of who you are, ground the whatever question you're asking, ground the prompt, and then leverage the LLMs, again, zero retention of the LLMs, and be able to bring that back. So the goal is to provide 360 views and ground the AI so we can do autonomous actions in the flow of work. That's key, in the flow of work. Lots of cool tools out there. If it's not in the flow of work, then it's probably not a measurable business impact.
And Sean, since we're talking about the unified customer profile, it might be interesting. I want to hear your perspective on how you talk about an MDM, right, that we may have at the enterprise level already, maybe on-prem cloud, versus the data cloud concept of a unified customer profile that you can activate.
Definitely, and there's lots of MDMs on there. And to be clear, we do not want to be an MDM. There's some fantastic MDM vendors. You may have built your own. You may leverage Informatica. That is not our intent here. Our intent here is to take more of a keyring approach. We want to be able to take your MDM data, your Salesforce data, your other data. I haven't met one company that has one master data place. And once they try, they make an acquisition, or there's some engineering team or some marketing team that has another database. So our goal is to keyring it together and activate it. So we are not trying to be that MDM. We are trying to be that activation layer so you can realize the full value of your data and drive it into applications. You can segment it. You can create apps. The goal here is really that central theme there is no, not MDM, activation. And there's an example here in this slide I can go into more into. I want to make sure I hit your question first.
Thank you.
Yep. So as you kind of saw hinted on the previous slide, is zero copy is a big part of it. So we have partnerships with Databricks, with AWS, with Google, Azure coming next year, Safe Harbor. But overall, we have these fantastic partnerships of data ecosystem partners. And you can see a lot of the cool logos on here on the list, and this will continue to increase. This is a major area of investment for Salesforce. And the goal here is every CIO I talk to is that, Sean, this is cool, but I already built it here. I don't want to duplicate my data. This is the greatest part about Data Cloud is you can federate your data, leveraging our hyperscaler, leveraging it's built on Apache Iceberg. We have lots of ways to federate data, to bring data in, to bring data out. And essentially what you're doing in layman's terms is you're making these tables. Let's say you have a Snowflake table. Rather than pipe the data back and forth and leverage APIs and build data pipelines, that's okay for a couple of use cases. But at scale, if I'm going to drive these 360 agentic type use cases, I need to be able to federate it. I want it to look and feel and act like a first-class object in Salesforce. And once it looks and feels like a first-class object in Salesforce, again, you have all the value that our platform brings: the security, access to Salesforce flows, your Apex code, and be able to drive that actions into the channel of your choice. So the key here is no duplication. Federation is better than duplication. Now, if you want to ingest it, that is an option as well, for sure. But 30% of Data Cloud data today is actually federated. And this is really, really important for CIOs and data architects out there. So the key here and the key message is, if you have Salesforce and if you have Snowflake, this is the ultimate upgrade. If you have, next slide, please. If you have Databricks, this is the ultimate upgrade. If you have BigQuery, the ultimate upgrade. You kind of see the theme here, and there's one more here, AWS, of course. So we are continuing this, and this is the ultimate upgrade. Do not feel like you're duplicating it. This is probably the #1 reason I start these conversations, because people are finally feeling, okay, there is a way where I can truly unlock the value of my data. I can activate it. I can bring into these agentic use cases. And the end goal is, again, this is not a separate platform. It is one unified platform that Salesforce has built. Data Cloud now becomes that foundation of the platform. One more slide, Ali. Where we can bring it all together. On the bottom, we have our integration layer. We have our trust layer. We have the flows, the automations, the security, the privacy. And Data Cloud is the glue. It is the foundation that brings it all together. And then the top layers is the activation. All the clouds that we know and love, the Sales Cloud, the Service Cloud, Commerce. Tableau Next is coming out, built natively on Data Cloud. So how do we bring this picture for you? What is your version of this in your architecture with your data lakes, with your data? And what are the use cases? What are the jobs to be done that we can help automate, that we can help your workforce be able to augment, to be able to drive that acceleration, to be able to provide that next generation experience? Mark likes to say we are the last generation that will only manage humans. So congratulations, we are the first generation that will manage a combination of a human and agentic workforce. So we'll go into more business cases here, but hopefully this gives you a good foundation of what is Agentforce, what is Data Cloud, how does it come together, how do we leverage your existing data, and what does it mean for you?
Well, Sean, you just addressed one of the most frequently asked questions that we get brought up to us directly, and really around those hyperscalers and those relationships that truly eliminates any confusion, any latency, and just absolutely makes this so much more valuable. I love this graphic as well. And, as I think about the outer layer, I mean, those are really the business conversations. And as we're talking about road mapping and use case identification, I mean, these conversations are so eye-opening. And then taking it all the way down, through the data layer, again, eliminating just any barriers to accessing the intelligence that you need to surface to those agents for them to be the most effective. And that's really it. I mean, we're going to coin the phrase Dataforce. but they truly are better together, because your agent is only as intelligent as the information you give it access to. I mean, that's really the basis of what we're talking about here today. And so how to unlock that, how to make it accessible so that your agents are more valuable, more productive, drive more benefits from the business value perspective, which is what we're going to be talking about shortly. So making the business case, again, another frequently asked question or topic that we're encouraged to help our clients navigate. The estimated market value, or just really business opportunity ahead of us for Gen AI it exceeds like $4 trillion in the near term. I mean, it's absolutely massive. But what we see when we actually zoom in and we're having one-on-one conversations is that business leaders are really kind of struggling to articulate, how do I make a commitment to my ELT around whether it's cost reduction or increase in revenue? Because this is an uncharted, and yet, they can't look back and say, what did we do last year or the year before? This is absolutely new. So it's incumbent on us to help our customers, navigate that. And we are here to lead the way and sharing here in this webinar where others are unlocking value, so that we can then inspire, conversations and some ideas around, where to find that within your own business. So I want to highlight one company in particular, our client that has implemented Agentforce, even in a phase 1 capacity. There are multiple phases behind this, but has identified that they do not need to hire in order to scale. And that's really the goal, be able to scale without also having to scale, your headcount or your support costs. And due to Agentforce, we're able to help them offset that. So their estimates are upwards in the $1 million in savings range, directly correlated to their support reps. And they anticipate an additional 7 figures as the Agentforce journey expands, and they really roll that out more broadly. So we're excited to see this and be able to go on this journey with them. Our client, Turtle Bay, using Data Cloud, was able to unlock an amazing value story around the guest profile. And you can see here some of the key metrics that they were able to drive. And again, this is their data. We didn't create any new information. What we were able to do is unify it so that they could have a full understanding of their guest 360, thus being better able to take action upon that, drive new offerings, drive new programs, and find new revenue uplift. So we're excited to share those as inspiration. We're going to talk more about specific industry use cases, but want to pass this over to Sean and Anu to talk about your experiences. You're having conversations in the boardroom around the business case for Agentforce.
Yeah, thanks, Sally. So thinking about some of the enterprise clients I'm working with that are, really strategic, and they have a lot of customers, B2B and B2C use cases. So I want to go over some of the common objections I hear out in the field and clarify why Data Cloud is distinct from all these other platforms that you have. So as Sean started to talk about, that's neither the warehouse nor a lake, but enables you to activate your data lakes and data warehouse. And so it's intended for quick piping of your external systems to your Salesforce stack. And so if you think about the internal sales or marketing user, warehouses and lakes are obviously not meant for their use, right? Why would you add to the IT team's endless ticketing queue when Data Cloud is intended for users to easily access the data in a self-service fashion? So here's some things to consider. And Sean, I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well, for what you're seeing out in the field. But you can't use Snowflake with CRM without blowing up storage costs. Say you were to pipe data directly into CRM somehow, right? I've seen that. You can't store your PDFs and all other sources of AI knowledge in CRM either, because it's incredibly difficult to get access to in a unified fashion. You also can't get Databricks in a Microsoft, and of course, blowing up costs. And so here we have a buffet, if you will, of 200 connectors not requiring any custom dev. So your GTM teams can move more efficiently and accurately by bringing together what you wouldn't otherwise have been able to actually operationalize, right? Next slide, please. Okay, so we know that your sales or marketing teams are trying to reach increasingly sophisticated buyers, whether that be in the B2B or B2C context. They want self-service, they want to be reached on their preferred channels, and much of the business world obviously is still dependent on email to reach these buyers, and we want to move you beyond that, right? So what do they need? Your customers' signals under the noise, understanding those is key, right? And we have a hard time doing that right now just because of the oceans of data we're swimming in. You can't understand intent or sentiment only depending on CRM data that your sales team gathers in those opportunity record pages or on customer data sitting in your warehouse. So Data Cloud then becomes the foundation for robustly profiling and progressively profiling your buyers that goes far beyond what you might gather in a simple form or a sales call that we might have in place today. And then if we think about businesses that are subscription or consumption-based business models, product usage data becomes even more crucial to predicting churn and upselling. That's another important case to think about if that's your business model. So Data Cloud then is uniquely positioned with AI and CRM to help you understand your churn and buying signals, particularly when you put all of your unstructured data to use using our 200 plus connectors. Next slide. So the question, big question, do you need to implement Data Cloud to use Agentforce? This is obviously perhaps the number one burning question, right? You don't strictly need to implement Data Cloud to use Agentforce. Data Cloud would come with your org with a knowledge library if you want to populate that. However, Data Cloud is highly recommended because it can unify your structured and unstructured data and the oceans of data generated outside of CRM. So think meeting notes, transcripts, SOWs, slide decks, IMs, emails even, right? So think like Google Drive connector, Chorus AI, all your PowerPoint slides just sitting there, right? One of the use cases I'm working on now actually is surfacing SOWs that are similar to other opportunities that have closed based on what the sales rep needs to see in terms of use cases that were successful. So you may not see value for some of the data you have sitting there, right? So you may that's where Data Cloud is really powerful, is helping you put that data to use that you just may not have even looked at deeply.
And think about it, whenever you call a customer service agent or you're dealing with a sales rep, they're not leveraging all their knowledge and reading rows of data inside the CRM to answer your questions. They're leveraging PowerPoint, Slack messages, all that stuff that you mentioned. 80% of data is unstructured. So for these agents to be truly effective, we have to leverage a truly effective RAG vector database to be able to quickly and immediately access this information for those agents or in your humans as well. They need the data. They are tired of hunting around for it, swivel chairing. If they can't find it quickly, they're not going to leverage it, and that can sacrifice also your customer experience.
Yeah, and what I've also seen, of course, is that when they have to look at all these disparate sources while they're talking to the customer, they're also less likely to enter it in CRM. So you can't even capture that particular activity. So I appreciate that you brought that up. And on that point, I do see the question about federation, query federation. So we will answer that at the end in the Q&A. So looking at your the infrastructural question, right? So we want to understand, first of all, before we answer the question of whether a data lake or data warehouse can fulfill the needs of Data Cloud, we need to understand who's using which business applications, right? So the warehouses are for engineers. Sales, marketing, and customer success are not going to ever hang out in Databricks or Snowflake. They need a user-friendly way to access customer data that may not actually belong in your warehouse even, right? Separately, the warehouse isn't designed to provide a complete view of the customer across the tech stack, right? You have so many business applications. Snowflake may not even be gathering that, or Databricks or what have you, right? So then Data Cloud is uniquely positioned to give your go-to-market teams what's unavailable and what can also help them generate insights that are just maybe not be available in your marketing system or your warehouse or your data lake. Next slide, please. So another objection I often hear from executives, or concern rather, is that they already have, say, Power BI. So my follow-up is always to ask if those dashboards are actually accessible to marketing and sales, and if executives can actually learn crucial metrics at a glance, if they have everything they need centralized in Power BI to actually make business decisions. And so often the dashboards are seen in practice, but only by a handful of people. And so if your whole company looks at the dashboards today, chances are even then that the data feeding them is incomplete because it only comes from the warehouse or like only comes from a handful of systems and not from the overall Salesforce platform or suite of products that you may have. So then Data Cloud, of course, seamlessly gets you the unified customer sales and marketing data, and it can also pipe it to Power BI and Tableau via outbound connectors or integrations and any other analytics tools. So it's crucial, therefore, that your dashboards actually reflect your entire business instead of just what's in your ERP or warehouse, which is what we see most often. Next slide. So as we mentioned, we have that buffet of connectors, meaning integration planning is really simplified. It's simplified enough, in fact, for business users to guide. So your data and IT teams save a massive amount of time that they may have otherwise spent on building custom integrations with ETL tools. And we also know that data can get out of sync really quickly, right? So the data, therefore, is better synchronized across systems with Data Cloud as it becomes the business's source of truth. And for any system that may not have a connector, there's actually also an ingestion API to make that process simpler than it was before. So many of our clients are in the phase of trying to articulate the business value of an agent and of Data Cloud together. So we always recommend starting with a small use case that you can measure ROI for. It's important that you don't start too small because then you might just be using the out-of-the-box agent. But to get a little more complex based on what data you have available to you today that you can measure the success of. So taking a crawl, walk, run approach is always preferable to trying to do everything at once. So don't bring all your data into Data Cloud at once, for example. Limit what the agent is getting access to make sure that we ground it properly and we can test it, right? And so Thunder helps drive measurable business value in that way by helping our clients do agentic road mapping and to choose a use case. And that's, of course, all based on your level of data maturity. So Sean, I want to ask you, what are some of the industry use cases you've seen be really successful using Data Cloud and Agentforce?
We're seeing it across everything. It's really interesting and fascinating. I mean, going back to our consumer lives, where I see it a lot is in our regulated industries, healthcare. How many of us go to a doctor and we try to seek insurance authorization to go see the next doctor to have a procedure? How complicated is that? And the payers also spending every time you call and pick up the phone and call these payers and ask that's costing them $50 to $100 per call as well. Very inefficient, very inconsistent. So we see lots of healthcare companies trying to streamline that, be able to bring together all your data. If an agent can do some basic authorization and even automate it, win-win for everyone. Insurance is another big one as well. Insurance companies are notorious for legacy data stacks. They have policy data in one database, they have claims data somewhere else, they have a marketing CDP system somewhere else. They're wanting to bring that all together to be able to create that seamless experience. They don't want you to call an agent. They want you to be able to engage online, on the phone, and be able to easily find what you're looking for. They want to be able to cross-sell and upsell you. If you have car, let's sell you auto. Let's sell you pet. Let's sell you the next thing out there. Manufacturing, this has always been the dream, is pulling telemetry data to be able to do proactive engagement, proactive warranty replacement. Something's going wrong. So it's hard to pull that together to get data together. And even if we do pull it together, let's say we have it in Databricks, great. How do we activate a proactive reach out by an agent to be able to reach out to the customer, let them know, set up appointments, sell them and upsell the warranty? There's so many use cases of what's going on. And last in retail, and this applies everywhere really, is Whimsa. Where is my order? Such a thing that seems easy, but it's not. There's so many different things going on. And that's a big call. People call and again, it's a lose-lose. You're wasting your time. You're costing the company money with their human agents. How do we streamline and automate that? So use those as examples and think about your business and where this can apply and where can we and really personalize that customer experience.
And the beautiful thing about this, actually, as you're talking, we're talking a lot about regulated industries as well. And I know that in such regulated industries, like I used to work on the client side for healthcare personally, so I saw this firsthand. There can be some hesitation to use Data Cloud because you don't know, like, okay, can we mix this data? Are we allowed to even collect this? And that's where Data Cloud and Agentforce are intended to work together to separate that out to make sure that we are actually complying with regulations. But then that trust layer already has like HIPAA compliance built in, for example.
Well, that tees up perfectly to, really outline, what role do we as a consultant play in this project journey. And so, as Anu mentioned, helping clients to, really dig through and ferret out the right topics that's really going to drive that return. Creating accurate instructions, right? So we sometimes lovingly refer to agents as smart interns, right? What would you have an intern that starts day one, they're only going to be as good as what you tell them to do, and giving them the right guardrails, making sure that they don't give all the HR data to the first person that calls in. So working with Thunder to really establish those, continue to fine tune those as well. I heard something the other day that was so interesting to me. When you're in consulting, you think about going into UAT, and production is really the last mile. Well, with agents, it's really the beginning. And as Anu was sharing, this crawl, walk, run, where you're starting out with some initial use cases, but that is going to expand very quickly as soon as you start to realize the value of those initial cases. So we're just beginning our journey together when we go into production, and it's all about the new relationship that we have with our clients that's more symbiotic and less project-based and ongoing. So we're continuing to tune the actions and the guardrails and the instructions and the data that they'll have access to. So we're really thrilled about this evolution. And we can talk about some of our experiences. As Anu mentioned, we're having some more interesting conversations, just even beyond the initial, response to a simple customer service inquiry, and really getting creative around, looking things like RFPs and SOWs, and getting creative on acting as a concierge. And we look forward to just a few minutes. Anu's going to take us through a demonstration that really highlights the complexity behind the simplicity in an interface. So we'll go over to Anu to show us a working demonstration of the power of Data Cloud and Agentforce in our client, Thunder Bay.
Cool.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Over to you, Anu.
One moment. Okay. Everyone can see my Thunder Bay screen. So this is our Thunder's actual resort. No, just kidding. We have an agent here that we are going to show you that draws on Data Cloud data in the background, that unified customer profile, reservation data, and booking data that was externally sourced, as well as activity data. So reservations for on-premise activities that the guest may want to book. So I'm going to just first ask about to confirm my reservation. So this is getting data from that full customer 360 view that we created in Data Cloud. And so now I'm giving it my email address. Oh, sorry, wrong email. All right, it's fetching my reservation. So it has me in this ocean view room. So I want to potentially upgrade my room. So I'm going to ask it, what are the differences between a room and a suite? And so it's checking in real time, right, what the descriptions are in the back. So I'm going to say, can I upgrade my room? Giving me my current details. And so I want a suite. And it's going to check the rate for today, of course, because hotel rates change pretty like almost daily. Ocean View Suite is what I'm going to choose. And now it's going to update my reservation. All right, it's been upgraded. Now I'm going to ask it what things to do while I'm there. And this comes from our activity booking system, which is separate from our reservations and like that associated booking system. So another fun thing Thunder has done for hospitality clients is build predictive models to suggest activities based on past activity reservations. Can use things to do. And so now our agent is going to give us some ideas for activities. And, you know, those are kind of some of the examples. Another thing I could do is check my loyalty status, but for the sake of time and to make sure we have time to answer questions, I will pass it back to Allie.
That's great. And it's really, you know, what we see is so simple on the interface, and it was so quick in its response. And as I think about the complexities of the data that it actually had to access, whether it be their keying system, the reservation system, the live inventory, be able to give you real-time pricing, the activities based on my preferences. I mean, there's so much complexity behind what we then surface via agent to make simple. And I think that's the really exciting piece of that story. So I do want to make time for some of our questions. If we had any that kind of came up during our conversation, I don't know. I think Anu, you were looking at a couple.
Yeah.
Any that you want to tackle first?
Yeah, I'd love to take the query federation question. And Sean, I think the other question would love for you to answer. But so as I understand this question, can you guys please expand on federated, I presume query federation for Data Cloud, mission critical subject of evaluation. So query federation is part of zero copy, but building it quite like in that way where we're not storing any data in Salesforce, or sorry, in Data Cloud. So you can access your data wherever it lives. And so it chunks out your data when it it looks for your data in chunks. And then it also, it can access your external warehouse in near real time or real time. You're going to skip traditional ETL processes. And, you're not going to have to sync anything, right? But you can still action that data that lives outside, say in Snowflake. You can still action it and make it part of your unified customer profile as well. So I hope that answers the question. And if it doesn't, glad to answer further. If you find me on LinkedIn, definitely would love to dig further into that.
There is another question here.
Yes.
Go ahead. You're able to see the chat. Feel free to tackle.
Yeah, I can look at it. Okay. Oh, so Sean, would love to know your thoughts here. I spent a year to convince the sales users in my org to enter data in Sales Cloud. Now with Data Cloud, I fear sales users might go back to the old ways of working outside of Sales Cloud. How do your clients work around that, or how do clients work around that?
Yeah, great question. So to be very clear, is sales users will not even know Data Cloud exists, except that their new Salesforce experience will be awesome, because it no longer be a bunch of fields and stuff that they enter. What's in it for them? They're going to have these insights that are coming from your data lakes and enterprise data, not just a bunch of data in rows like a dashboard. Dashboards are cool. What's cooler is if it actually has insights. Here is the lifetime value of this customer. Here is the last 3 service cases they went. Here are the clicks they went on your website before they called you. So sales users will be more invested because we're taking it from a classic kind of CRM interface, whether it's a sales console, a service console, and we're supercharging it and accelerating it with awesome insights and actually actions they can take and recommendations. So I think Hubert asked that question. I think they'll be even more excited if we do it right. Let's take, what does my Salesforce look like today? What does a new supercharged agentic AI experience look like? So great question.
Yeah, and so actually we have another question. If I want to implement Agentforce, but I'm not sure about my data quality, how would you start thinking about Agentforce readiness? Sean, I would love to know what you think here.
I'm yet to meet one customer whose garage is perfectly clean, and the same thing, their data is perfectly clean either. So the garage was your personal garage at your house. Joke attempt there. So it's all about the journey, and the cool thing is Agentforce has lots of testing mechanisms. You can even run tests and an Agentforce testing center, Agentforce analytics. There's many ways to be able to test your data. So start with these kind of use cases, not too small, something that has a little meat, a little action, and let's run the analytics and let's do some test runs to see how it's performing. And the cool thing is this will help you expose, okay, the agent's not performing quite well here. Maybe we should focus on cleaning up this data, or maybe we should serve it up some unstructured data because my structured data is good, but it's small. There's so much amazing information in my knowledge articles and Slack and other repositories. So it's part of the journey, and you got to start now.
Yeah,
Love that.
definitely. Same. I've not seen any clients just have a fully clean garage. Neither is my own garage clean, but we do we do our best as implementation partners as well to help you clean things up ahead of time. One more question here. If an executive says, this is about the demo. If an executive says, looks like a really nice bot, how is this different from, sorry, it looks like a really nice agent, how is it different from a bot? What I would say there is this is where we meet predictive this is where we meet generative action, I suppose. So say, taking the example of suggesting activities based on past stays, like that is the agent taking, previous information and coming up with a potential set of possibilities that that person might like. Sean, if you have any other thoughts, would love to know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I broke up for a second here. I didn't hear the question. So,
Sorry. Yeah. So the difference between an agent and a bot.
Got it. Bots are not intelligent. We've all used bots and we go ask questions, and they might get us, they might not. We've all used bots on websites, and the first thing you do is, how do I get to a human? Versus an agent is actually grounded with intelligence, with an LLM. So imagine a bot experience versus going to ChatGPT, night and day. We love ChatGPT. We hate bots. How do we bring that GPT experience personalized to your data, to your workflows, to your jobs to be done? It's a great question, key delineation.
I love that. And very relevant to the question that was asked around data readiness. So on the next slide that I'll show is a QR code that you can scan, or you can provide to your customers to scan, or obviously just contact us. Our goal is to answer that exact concern. I feel like we really need to help people be ready, that we can meet them where they are, and that there is value in their data almost regardless of the state, because we will unlock it and then we can phase into activating that next concentric circle of value and whatever preparation needs to happen there. We also work with a lot of customers that have experienced acquisitions, and they have multiple orgs, right? And there's no intention at this point to merge them, or it's too big of an undertaking, and they need to start seeing value now. So, we're able to meet them where they are as well. Data Cloud is an amazing unifier to be able to, take those multiple org strategies and give them one single layer upon which they can activate. So keep an eye out for the QR code, which is coming next. I think we are running right on time. I'm going to show my QR code so you can scan that, as well as in the chat, you have Anu's contact information. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. Obviously, this is a great Q&A session and much more to be had. And that's why we're here. So Sean, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. We are so grateful for your insights. Anu, we are so grateful for your experience that you bring. It's just, really comes from a client perspective. I can feel that. And look forward to getting you into more conversations, especially with some of the attendees that joined and may have follow-up. So thank you to our speakers, and everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you for your time today.